Вестники про talks to Miss Irene Louizidou Nikolaidou, who is the Commissioner for Personal Data Protection. And first of all, I would like to thank you, Ms. Louizidou, for accepting our invitation for this online interview.
I thank you for the invitation.
The role of your commission and you as a commissioner is very hard to be overestimated in the time of COVID, when end businesses and private just households, they communicate a lot via internet, and children study at school via internet quite many months during the year. So my first question is, let's start with the main functions of the commission. How did it change recently? So we understand there is a commission on data protection. That's easy. But last 2-3 years, what are the new adjustments and changes?
First of all, we have to say that part of our responsibilities and our powers is to give guidance and advice not only to organizations and businesses, but to natural persons as well. Further from these two functions, we have corrective powers. That means that if we investigate a case and we finalize and we have a decision that there was a violation of privacy, we have the right to impose fines that are course binding to everybody. Of course, this is not our main goal to impose fines. That's not the phase that we want to maintain and show to the outside world. But in case that there is a serious violation, then we don't have any other choice than to impose fines in order to give the message that the violations of privacy are not permitted.
When we just started in Cyprus with this campaign on data protection, many companies were saying that it's impossible to comply. What do they say now?
Okay, our message to the companies is that the cost of the non-compliance is much higher than to comply. So I think we have passed this message to organizations and to natural persons that they are contacting processing. And I think we have made major steps ahead. We need work, but we have made again steps towards the full compliance of the GDPR. Okay, there are of course great margins to touch the goal, but as I say, usually it's an ongoing process. The compliance of the GDPR is not one period time target. It's a ongoing process that we have to maintain with a lot of effort and sometimes with a lot of cost.
With what questions physical people come to you? What do they complain for? I understand that the easiest thing is like somebody sending SMS without permission. What do you do in this case? If somebody is reporting to you that a shop somehow took a phone number and constantly sending SMS, what do you do?
You are right. You are right. During the previous years, spamming was our major, let's say, group of complaints. It was majority. It was the majority, the big majority. Nowadays, the last 2 or 3 years, spamming is less than 1/3 of our let's say pool of complaints. The rest of the complaints has to do with the exercise of the right. For example, the exercise of the right to access. People want to access as per Article 15 of the GDPR. People want to access their personal data, and of course they have the right to do it.
What do you mean? Can you give me an example? Because I don't understand what is this about.
Yes. For example, we want to access the personal data gathered and kept by our doctors. We have this right, and even ask for a copy. Or we have the right to ask for a public authority to give us copy of what they have in their record. This is the right to access based on the Article 15 of the GDPR, or for example, the right to be erased, to be forgotten.
Yes, about the right, sorry to interrupt you, about the right to be forgotten, everyone knows now, but about the right to have access to your materials kept somewhere, I don't think people are aware enough, and this is very important that they can insist if they need this information.
Yes, I think more and more people know about this right because they do exercise this right, and we have tangible examples and proofs. They keep calling about this right, and they keep exercising it. So we have a great number of complaints in regards to the exercise, especially the right to access.
Yes. Okay. Now, so the right to be forgotten. It's very difficult to exercise because people expose themselves in social media, in many other communication. So how do you help them? Those people who say, wow, I did not know it's online. I want it to be deleted. What the commission can do? Do you have any guidance, any advice, any person who speaks or texts with people?
In regards to the right to be forgotten, there is a misunderstanding in regards to the exercise and who has the right to exercise this and how and when. So this right has a lot of exceptions and restrictions. For example, the concept and the know-how that somebody knows that whatever is up to the internet cannot be there or can be erased easily. This is not correct. So it's not easy to erase something from the internet or from any other base has a legal base to keep it. So we have to be very careful as users and as natural persons to know what we upload and for what purpose. And again, we have restrictions in order to exercise and to comply with the right to be erased. And we have really limited power to download whatever is uploaded to the internet.
I see. Can you please tell what is the development? What do you expect in the, let's say, in the next year? What new maybe regulations or ideas will be implemented?
We expect compliance, and that's why we contact more and more audits. If you can see the figures, how they go towards the year and throughout the year, you can see that, for example, let's say some figures in order to have the whole picture. From May 2018 until the end of 2018, we had contacted 10 audits. During the year 2019, we had conducted 16 audits with personal inspection, let's say, and 89 through questionnaires. At the same time, during the 2020, we have contacted the same number of audits via personal investigation, and 16 the number, and double the number, 136 via questionnaires. Only by mentioning these figures, you can see that we try to monitor the compliance in regards to public and the private sector.
Yes, this was
during continuous audit.
That was my question while you were talking. How do you pick up the companies? How do you choose what company to audit?
It depends. If we have, let's say, more than one or two complaints against the company, this company is a target for our audit. We prefer to go there and have the bigger picture in respect to the compliance of the company, rather than investigate a very particular and very specific complaint.
Regarding the complaints, could you give us the examples, a few examples maybe, for the most often data issues, the most often data protection issues in the public and private sector in Cyprus, without names of the companies, just
Yes,
situations,
of course.
so people can understand?
Yes, we have many complaints in regards to unlawful collection of data. Let's say an organization asks and requests for the collection of data. They might have the legal basis to ask to request for the collection, but they ask for the collection for more data than needed. This is a violation of the principle of proportionality, of minimization. The principle of minimization means that you collect only the data you need for a certain purpose. You don't collect data that you might need in the future, or you might not need at all. You might not need at all. So the violation of the principle of proportionality minimization is the same. We have a lot of complaints in regards to this principle. The procedure we follow is almost the same as always. We take the complaint via a form that we have uploaded on our website. If it's valid, if the complaint has the legal basis in order to proceed with the investigation, we ask for the opinion of the plaintiff. So we have the opinions of the parties, the views of the parties, and we proceed with the binding decision.
All right. As you said, people can complain via your website. So in addition to this interview, I will just publish the address of the website, and there is a kind of complaint form.
Yes, of course. There are two different forms, one for the spam and another for the exercise, three actually, for the exercise of rights, and another one for any kind of complaint. They have to fill up this form because we need some details. We sometimes have complaints without enough details. That makes it difficult for us to investigate properly the case. So we go back to the complainant and we ask for more details in order to be able to investigate properly.
So the person who applies should be ready that in case the details are needed, you will come back to him and you will get the details you need for your investigation, because you take it seriously.
Yes. And if for example, we have a lot of questions or a lot of complaints about a specific thing, let's say if a certain processing from an organization is lawful or not, we deal with this in general. For example, we issue guidelines or we issue public statement, written statement, in order to give our final guidance on this particular issue. You can see a lot of statements uploaded on our website every few days because we need to communicate this way to the community.
You mentioned at the beginning of the conversation kind of fines, or if the company did not listen to you or continue to violate data protection rules. What these fines are about? How do they, I understand that they depend on the size of the company, of the operations, but from what amount to what amount they might vary?
It depends on the very particular characteristics and criteria of each case. we don't have, let's say, a catalog or a pilot to follow, but let's say something that we follow in regards to spamming. Nowadays, we find with 1,000 euros per person, per natural person who send spam without the consent, without the ability to stop it, and 1,500 for each political party. This is in relation to spam. But for the other complaints, it depends totally on each case, let's say, particularities and uniqueness, because each case is different. Even if it's the same subject, each cases and each mitigation factors need to be considered in order to make a decision, are different.
In conclusion of our interview, what would you like to say to the Russian-speaking readers of Vestnik newspaper and to those people who will watch us in video?
It's a very good question, but it's important to say that being a CY citizen, a Cyprus citizen, allows Russian citizens to afford and have the protection provided by the GDPR against any public and private entity which processes their data. So I give them the message to make use of this privilege and do not hesitate to file and complain to our authority, to our office, and protect their at any aspect their privacy. Please do not hesitate to do that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this opportunity.